at 9 o'clock on Iowa City's news and sports station, 800 KXIC. Happy Memorial Weekend. A lot of people are going to be out and about at all of the different breakfasts and events happening and celebrations, and obviously remembering all of our veterans and those that have served this country proudly. It is the Positively Petland Show. Ron, we're talking about fleas and ticks. We're talking about pets and what are the treatments out there that are available in order to combat both the flea tick season, which the CDC, as you mentioned in the first segment, is going to be big this year.
Right. And I'm going to put links on, if you can go to Petland, Iowa City a little later on today, Petland, Iowa City Facebook. And then I'll write a blog on our petlandiowacity.com so that you can link to all this stuff so that you can go back to it, read more about it and all that kind of stuff. The first step we're going to talk about is, okay, we'll hit the pet and we'll hit the yard and a little bit about yourself. And so first thing on the pet, we hit this a couple of weeks ago, but because the CDC put this out, I figured it was probably a good idea. They're putting out warnings right now just saying, hey, we're seeing more of the whole Lyme's and West Nile and all that kind of stuff from year to year. Like we said, that might have something to do with just it's easy. But how do I protect, my pet and my house and myself from this, from more of the pet's perspective? And that's what we're going to hit today. So let's start off with the pet. I always say there's 3 stages that you want to control your pet in. And you want to stay in the first stage. So the first stage is, I have no problems. I've seen no fleas, no ticks, no symptoms, and we'll talk. There's some links that I'll put on for symptoms as well. But I just want to do a prevention. You can work with your veterinarian on this. They've got products. You can go to the store. There's the topical products like the Frontline, Advantix, and now they're all out in generics as well. You can use those. And we'll talk a little bit about that. That's first step. And I'm just going to go through 3 steps and then we'll backtrack. The second step is I've found something on my dog or cat. And so now you're going to step back a little bit. You're going to still apply that topical product. Again, we'll talk, I'll give you examples of them. But now you're going to supplement it with a product called Capstar, which will kill every walking flea. There's different stages to the fleas. And it'll kill every walking flea on your dog or cat right now for the next 30 minutes. And it's an amazing product. It gets you under control. It allows those topical products to get control. And then the third stage is, not only am I seeing them on my pet, but I'm now seeing them in the house and I'm getting ankle bites and stuff like that. So now you're going to go into, I got to treat my pet with the topical, the Capstar. I'm going to now put on my dog or cat as well to get that under control because that's the source of your problems in the house. And now I have to treat the house as well. So that's the 3 stages here. Now stepping back, let's go to step 1. Frontline, and what I have in here are the generics. And so if you're watching us on Facebook, there's a 360 video that you can watch and I'll show them on there. And then plus on YouTube, we're doing them on there so you can actually see. I did bring, all right, this is the old-fashioned way of helping your dog or cat.
The flea and tick collar.
Yes, this is, so people swear by these, and I appreciate where you're coming from, but it is like 40 or 50-year-old technology. It doesn't do a very good job. It is a nice supplement, maybe, and that's about it. The flea and tick collars that are out, except for the Serestro collar, just the normal, really cheap flea and tick collars, they don't work very well. So you're taking a chance with those. And just to give you a warning on that, it worked. That was the best thing that we had way back when, but we've come a long way since then. So what works today? I've got the Frontline generic, and these generics, they went off patent. So now people can copy them to the T and not violate patents. So Zogard Plus is a product that came out. Now it's a lot cheaper than a Frontline is. And you can use that product topically, the way I apply them to my dog and my cat, even though my cat does not go outside. I still do it on my cat because fleas can come in through the screens and stuff on the windows or through your other animals, your pets, into your house. And so these products, I just put a little dab between the shoulder blades and then along the back, kind of get a distribution along there, especially for larger dogs. And you now can apply that, and you got really good protection for a month, and you're going to have to re-up that every month. They do say if your dog goes in the water more frequently, daily or 4 times a week, they say, hey, just know that that's decreasing the product a little bit, and you might need to reapply a little sooner. You can then go. Just follow the directions on the package. Oh, another word of warning here. Do not use a dog product on a cat. If it doesn't say explicitly that you can use this on cats, then don't use it. Use a product that's only for cats. You literally can kill the cat with the dog product. So that's how serious that warning is. All right. So now another one, Advantix and Advantage is out there, which is also off patent. And so you can get that one cheaper, and you can use the generics and all that kind of stuff. We have both the Frontline Plus and the Advantix and the Vantage in our store, but we also have the alternatives, and they've been out for multiple years now. So they're proof tested. Nobody's coming back and saying, hey, that thing doesn't work like it used to and all that kind of stuff. They all work really well. These are your front lines of defense. This literally put a business out of business. It was, they used to, the carpet cleaners and stuff used to have a pest control aspect that they did. They don't even do it much anymore because most people use these products, stay out of it as a result. That was 80% of their business before these products originally came out. Now they don't even do it much. It's a minor aspect. So that's how well these products work. So make sure you utilize these. All right. So that was the first step. Put a topical on once a month. Now let's go to that second stage where you say, hey, something's wrong. I see a flea. If you see one flea, there are many more out there on your dog or cat. And so now I've got a product called Cap Guard. The active ingredient is nitiprium, something like that. And so that product on there is, okay, I saw the flea, so I'm going to give my dog or cat that product, and that is going to kill every walking flea. Now, why do I say walking? Because there's eggs and larvae stages and all that. Some of it's underneath the skin of your dog or cat, and this does not take care of those. That's why you always need those topical products as your front line of defense. And then if you see something, come back with Cap Guard, and again, follow the directions on there. They usually say give it 3 doses over a period of 6 days. Gets it under control, and then it's kind of like stop and see, how am I doing? Then after that, you come back with the next thing, and that is you're going to, you've treated your pet. Oh, I saw a flea, so now you're to stage 2, and you're going to do Cap Guard. Now you're to stage 3. Okay, I've treated my dog and cat. I saw some fleas, so I've done that Cap Guard, but now I'm also seeing it in my house. Realize if you stay with stage 1, and do this preventatively, you stay out of most of this trouble. You can always get into trouble because of certain factors, but you have a good 90% chance of staying out of trouble. So now you've seen the fleas in the house. You're going to go to things like the no flea carpet crystals. And that product is something you sprinkle right into your carpeting. Again, we have all these products in our store.
Is it toxic?
This one is, there is a toxicity, like you can't eat this stuff. But it has on its labels that once you've worked it into the carpet, you've sprinkled it lightly, you don't like saturate it, and then you work it into the carpet. They talk about it on the label that a child can crawl right over this stuff and be fine.
I know that's one thing. And if everybody's always kind of hypersensitive about the things that they put onto their carpet or bring into their house, especially if you have kids.
Right. And so, again, follow the labels, but you might, because you got to eradicate this. You might just say, you know what, I'm going to have a professional do it at that point, and then bring the professionals in. But these products, just make sure you're following the labels, reading the labels, and all that kind of stuff. So so then you're going to do that, and that's when you get into the bombs and all that kind of stuff. Now, that is how to treat your pet, and that keeps you out of most of your problems. There's the herbal products as well. Now, you will find there's no proof that the herbal products actually work. A lot of people say, you know what, I just don't want to put those other chemicals. I'm going to do what I can. So we do have a line from Nature Vet, herbal flea spray that you can definitely safe for the cats, but also you can use it on your dogs and stuff like that. We got the herbal flea I lost my words, shampoo. So now you got a nice product that you can use there. And then the powder, an herbal flea powder that you can also use. So we've got everything from the hardcore stuff all the way to the natural stuff that is safe for your dog or cat, and you're not getting into all the chemicals and all that kind of stuff. If you do find you're overloaded, hey Ron, I'm trying these cap guard that's helping me, but I'm not getting that long-term benefit. You can get into then the flea dips and the flea shampoos that actually do have chemicals in them. And those are also in our store. We've got the BioGroom manufacturer of those who does a very, very nice job of making sure you do things right and safe and all that kind of stuff. And they'll also put the lanolins and all that kind of stuff in there to help protect and pacify that dog. Because anybody that's had this on their dog or cat, you can see the discomfort that they're having and everything. So that is all the products. Now, what is the CDC saying about all of this? They are pretty much saying, okay, apply those products to your dogs. And is going to give you the best treatment. They always say, if you have any questions, talk with your veterinarian. So maybe you have an elderly dog or cat and you're concerned. That's a good veterinarian question on all of this. If there's anything, a seed of doubt in your mind on what you should do, go ask your veterinarian. That's the best way to go on that. What I like on the CDC, and again, I'll put these links out on Facebook and on a blog on our petlandiowacity.com website. The CDC has what you can do in the yard. And in the yard, here are some tips on how to decrease the populations of these little critters in your yard so that you decrease the chances of them getting onto your dog or cat. Remove the leaf litter from your yard. So those piles of leaves that are hanging out in the corner. If you've ever followed your dog, I don't know why, but they love to sniff the piles. And so as you're like going, you got this whole big yard, they go beelining it for the leaf pile and they want to go in it. Well, that is where fleas and ticks will harbor. So remove those leaf litter piles and all that. Clear tall grasses and brush around homes and at the edge of lawns. So keeping your grass cut, I think they're saying just keeping your grass cut is a really good measure. So if you're doing that, that's great. A little lower helps out even more. I've never really cut my grass all that low in the summer months, and I've never had a flea issue there. So I'm, just keeping it managed, I think, is a good rule of thumb there. And then, of course, any brush that you have around the home, anything in those corners that are gathering, get them out, get them composted and all that. Place a 3-foot wide barrier of wood chips or gravel between lawns and wooded areas to restrict tick migration into recreational areas. Anybody that goes for walks in woods and everything, they know how to dress appropriately, long pants, long sleeves, using those bug sprays and all that kind of stuff accordingly. But also I've noticed, if you're walking amongst those little plants that have those beautiful leaves and they're about, knee high or less, those things harbor all the ticks. The ticks are underneath the leaves. And as you walk through them, those ticks are just jumping. The fleas are doing it again from the ground and jumping up. So having a wood chip or a gravel 3-foot barrier eliminates them propagating into your lawns. If you have those retention barriers, the vertical wall kind of barriers. Those are great for that because that's a vertical barrier that even helps prevent them from coming into your lawn even more. So having those wood chip or gravel 3-foot barriers around your yard, cushioning you from those wooded areas, is a great way to prevent them from propagating into your lawn. Then mow the lawn frequently. So that's, weekly or even more than that. If you're seeing problems, this is what you want to do. Stack wood neatly and in a dry area discourages the rodents that carry the fleas and the ticks into your yard. So having that neat and dry is a great way of reducing rodents, which are carriers of all this. Keep playground equipment, decks, and patios away from the yard edges and trees. So as we get closer to the woods, that's where that's their environment. They love it and all that kind of stuff. So keeping away from that area is your equipment, your decks, your patios, and then obviously the playground stuff just doesn't expose you as close to it. Discourage unwelcome animals such as deer, raccoons, and stray dogs from entering your yard by constructing. They're saying by constructing fences. I'll be all honest here. I'm not a fence kind of guy. I love it when you can see far out. I used to live in a dense subdivision, and everybody put the fences up, and it just, as a little kid, that I was like, whoa, I can't play anymore. So there are other things, though, that you can do to discourage the unwelcome animals. Sometimes you can't help but they just come walking through your yard, but definitely don't feed them, especially in the summer months. Deer, raccoons, and all the others, they got plenty of food out there that they can forage. You don't need to feed them in order for them to survive, kind of a thing. They got plenty of food on their own. So if you put it out there, they will come and they will eat because it's easy. Or you've got really tasty stuff. So don't do that. By not doing that will help you keep your yard more flea and tick free. And then finally, remove old furniture, mattresses, or trash from the yard that may give ticks a place to hide. So if you're one of those that are just throwing it out back, kind of a thing, know that is a harbinger for all of that, and that you'll want to not have a junkyard in your backyard or any other yard for that matter, because they will congregate in that area. So that's what the CDC is talking about on how to keep the yard. That's something that we haven't covered very much in our shows, and I wanted to hit that really good. So know that that's a really good. I also found on there some other things where it was, I think, the state of Carolina, Connecticut, put out a really nice tick management handbook. And this is a very detailed pamphlet that you can pull up. Again, I'll have links to it on our website and on our Facebook on how to manage it. Everything from ticks in the area. They do it more on the Northeast, but a lot of this stuff, most of this stuff, all applies to us. Tick associated diseases, Lyme disease down there. They got southern tick rash illness, human, oh boy, I can't even pronounce these things. Rocky Mountain spotted fever, tick paralysis. Gosh, if you want to get scared of this stuff, read all this. Holy cow, Colorado tick fever, and many more things that these little guys are carrying. Again, I think the fact that we can test for this is why this is becoming more and more of an issue. I think overall, it's kind of stayed somewhat consistent over the years. Obviously, our population is, people population is increasing, although we've kind of tabled out. So that's not going to be a big issue. So again, I think it's the testing that's really bringing this to light. Personal protection, it'll go through for you yourself. Some interesting things, the obvious things: wearing long sleeves and or gloves, long pants, high socks, boots, kind of a thing, are all good ones. One little thing that I found out, I always use repellents as well. I'll actually spray that right on top of the clothing. They made mention, don't spray the repellent under the clothing. They didn't tell you why, though, and I was interested to learn more about. I always thought that was a little trick I had. Lift the pant leg up a little higher, spray around there, so that I thought that was going to be a barrier. They actually recommended not to do that, and I'm not, again, they didn't say why. Area-wide chemical control for your house and for outside, how to actually apply some biocides that you can use from the hardware store in your yard to keep the bug populations, especially the fleas and ticks, down at a lower level. So that's what I had here. Let me see if I can find another little link here. I know we talked about outside. Find a tick. Oh, just the other link that they had on here that I found was interesting is if you do find a tick, the thing is just remove it right away. There are some little gadgets and some things to they say to help the tick back out and all that. They just said get it off now, kind of a thing. The way they recommended is using tweezers, getting as close to the skin as possible and pulling so that you get as much of the tick away. Obviously, then reinspect that area, see if there's any remnants that you need to get out of there and all that kind of stuff to remove it. So removing the tick right away is also key. I also know if you got a tick on yourself, you can go to your doctor or call your doctor or the hospital, and there is actually a pill now that you can do to help prevent Lyme's disease for recent bites and stuff like that. So that would be something that you can also do. But remove that tick right away. And I also know there's some ways that they can now test if you're very concerned. Do I have Lyme's disease? And I'm really concerned about this. You can actually have that tick tested as well. And to see whether it had it, so that you can either rest assured right away or take appropriate actions right away. So all of those links and everything else that we talked about here is going to be on our Facebook, again, as well as petlandiowacity.com under the blog section. I'll have that all in there. So that is the show for today. Thank you all for tuning in. Remember, Petland, Iowa City, we're across from Joann's and from Lucky's Market over at the Marketplace Mall. Our hours of operation on Sunday is noon until 6. And then the rest of the week, Monday through Saturday, is 10 a.m. until 9 p.m. But again, Sunday, noon until 6. Take advantage of our buy 10, get one free on all of our dog and cat food. That is an incredible bargain for you guys. We track it for you. It's that easy. You also are getting the lowest price in town. We're always shopping around and saying, hey, what is that price? Let's get it at that. And if we get a deal from the manufacturer, we pass that right along to you. So all of a sudden you'll see our prices go boom down and you're like, hey, I'm not seeing this anywhere else. Well, it's because we got a deal and we like to pass that along to you. So check out all that. We've got an amazing deal area. If you're into bargain hunting and all that kind of stuff, we have amazing deals. Also check that section out in our store for those. If you are also looking to get those nail trims for your dog, cat, furry friend, or feather friend, come on in. For the furry friends, is $5. You can't beat a $5 nail trim. If it's your first time, just bring in your vaccination schedule. We'll keep that on file so that we have that available. And no appointments needed. That's a $5 nail trim. So that's a really good bargain for you guys. Thank you, everybody. Have a great Sunday, and we will see you next week.